From a man with 6 criminal charges in just a few months.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases. It's all in a matter of months.
To another who interfered with a police investigation.
And he stepped in between and said she didn't have to give his ID or her ID and told her to leave while they were trying to get the ID of a witness. And then while they tried to detain him for getting in between them, he started pulling his arms away.
These moments reveal the bold and often reckless actions that bring people before the court. Watch as Judge Fleischer delivers firm justice, ensuring every action meets its consequence. Starting with Judge Fletcher handling Mr. Woods' case, here's a man who keeps breaking the law despite being on probation. It's wild how he went as far as assaulting a pregnant woman and smashing up a car with a rock. Well, that's not all his crime. Let's see how Judge Fleischer handles this crazy man.
Again, and again, and again, and again, Mr. Woods. Eight 14-23, assault of a family member. 6-9-24, violation of protective order, assault bodily injury. Another assault bodily injury. February of 24, assault of a pregnant person for which you're on deferred now, and now you've picked up another. You now stand charged with criminal mischief. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases. It's all in a matter of months. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Mr. Woods.
Yes, Judge. The defendant was traveling with the complainant to go see the defendant's child with his child's mother. The defendant continued attempting to be sexual with his child's mother, and the complainant engaged in a verbal altercation with the defendant. Upon arriving home, the defendant exited the vehicle, and the complainant drove to a store close to her home. The defendant took the complainant's iPad and walked and followed the complainant to the Kroger. The defendant then jumped on the complainant's hood as she was driving and struck her window multiple times with a rock, causing damage to her vehicle. Estimated damage was $300.
Who is the complaining witness in this case?
The complaining witness in this case is a Jacqueline Perry, who is the same complainant in the assault of a pregnant person.
Tell me he's not supposed to have contact with this complaining witness? Guys,
Morgan.
Mr. Woods is on deferred for assault of a pregnant person.
Yes, Judge, I'm emailing the felony prosecutor right now.
Was he, as a condition of that, not to?
No threatening, harassing, or abusive contact with the complainant in that case.
Mr. Woods, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm now sending you for a drug test. I want to know what, if anything, is in your system. If you fail to go take the test, if you fail to come back, I'm going to revoke your bond, and I'm going to make it so high. On one ankle, I'm going to put a GPS monitor because I'm ordering you not to have contact with this person, and you've shown repeatedly that you are incapable of following bond conditions. And I'm going to put a 1,000-foot radius that you're not to have any contact with this person. You're not to have any weapons. You're not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. And I'm going to test you repeatedly so I know that you're not using, but I'm sending you now for a drug test. Like I said, you failed the test, and if you fail to come back, things will not go well. Do you understand, Mr. Woods? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Take a seat for me.
Burroughs, Sydney,
While Mr. Woods faces charges for his reckless mischief, here we have Mr. Rodriguez, who thought he could outsmart the law by buying fake license plates online. At this point, it's outrageous how these illegal migrants keep committing crimes and expecting to go free.
You are Francisco Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez, you're charged with tampering with a government record. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. The officer was conducting patrol and observed a vehicle with a temporary tag. The officer ran a search that did not come back with a return. Traffic stop was conducted and the officer made contact with the driver, who said this was their father's car and he got the tag. Officers were able to speak with the defendant, who stated he was a construction worker and he was given the car as payment. The defendant stated he bought the tags off some lady on WhatsApp, and the defendant said the lady advised him it was all legit. The defendant stated he met the lady once to receive the plate, but since then, the plates get mailed every month. The defendant paid her $75 a month and had bought approximately 10 plates from her.
Mr. Rodriguez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Tell me, are you a United States citizen? Are you in this country with or without permission?
Excuse me?
Are you in this country with or without permission?
No, I don't have permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
¿Cómo? ¿Qué le pasa si va a la cárcel? I don't know.
Think.
Piense.
No, pues, ¿qué me pasa si voy a la cárcel?
What would happen to me if I go to jail, you said?
Are you in this country with or without
En el
permission?
país, ¿cómo?
Mr. Rodriguez,
Estoy sin permiso ahorita porque estoy queriendo ya arreglar.
I want
I'm without
to
permission
get-
right now, but I want to quiero que piense.
No, pues, yo sé que no está bien que esté sin permiso.
I don't think it's okay that I'm without permission.
Immigration sweeps the jail on a daily basis. Every couple hours, immigration goes through to see who is in custody without permission in this country. And if they find you, they will put a detainer on you and you will sit in jail until the case is over with and then shipped off to immigration. Well, you will sit for another 6 to 9 months waiting for immigration to do whatever they're going to do. If you do not want that to happen, do not violate the conditions that I set forth. Do not pick up any new cases. If I find that you do, then I'm going to put you in jail. And if you're unlucky enough, you will be there for an extremely long time. You understand?
Extremadamente largo, ¿entiende?
Ok, sí.
Okay, yes.
Do you have a Texas driver license?
De conducir de Texas?
Tengo para estar aspirando.
I do, but it's expired.
So you don't have a Texas driver
No tiene
license.
licencia de conducir de Texas.
You are not allowed to drive.
Se debe manejar.
Can you run his license, please?
There's no license on file in our
No.
system.
You are not allowed to drive, Mr. Rodriguez. And I'm telling you now, I don't care what is going on in your life. Until you have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, you're not allowed to drive. And if I find that you do, you can be facing a lot of time in jail. You will be signing a promise with me. This is an affidavit that you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. There's nothing you can do or say that can justify getting into a car. I don't care if someone has to go to the hospital. If you don't have a license and liability insurance, no driving. And if I find that you do, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Day after day, I see people who get immigration holds in custody because they don't heed this warning. You will not get another warning from us. I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'll get you to Victoria to sign a reset. You need a lawyer to represent you in this. And so we were going to give you time to go hire a lawyer. After that, you'll be free to go. Take care, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, sir, señor Rodríguez.
Unlike Mr. Rodriguez's case, Trevor Flores here is charged with unlawful possession of a weapon, and that's just the start. We know how much Judge Fleischer hates crimes like this. Let's watch his judgment on this.
Good morning, sir.
You're Trevor Flores.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Flores, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Officers initiated a traffic stop after observing the defendant cross several lanes while failing to signal and almost causing a collision. Upon contact, the officers observed an odor of marijuana. The officers asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle and asked whether the defendant had marijuana inside. The defendant admitted he did have marijuana inside, as well as a firearm. During the search of the vehicle, the officers found a handgun in plain view on the driver's side floorboard, not in holster. And the officers also located 13 grams of marijuana under the passenger seat.
Got it. All right, Mr. Flores, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? Do you not?
I have a SR22 in place. My license was suspended.
Okay, you're not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. It's possible you face another 6 months in jail. I'm going to have you sign an affidavit with me today, promising you that you're not going to drive. Do you have liability insurance in your name? Car insurance?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you driving until you have a Texas driver license. You need to call DPS, figure out what to do to get your license. I'm going to give you the phone number now, but it's time for you to get your license back. And when you show me that you have your license and that you have car insurance, I will happily allow you to drive. But until that point, do not drive.
Am I not allowed with the SR22?
No, I don't know what's going on with your license. I don't know if you've ever had a license. What's going on, Alex? Can you run it, please?
On the license?
Please.
Yes,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
I mean, I can't give you legal advice, okay? But as it stands, until you have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, don't drive. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of any weapons as well. Do you understand? This is a condition of your bond. If I find that you have a weapon, I'm going to revoke your bond. I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
26,
What do you do for a living?
high school football coach.
And I see it is not eligible, and it says it's a mandatory suspension due to driving with license invalid, as well as an SR suspension.
Okay, so you even have an SR suspension. You can't drive at all. So this is now a bond condition. If I find that you drive, I'm telling you, HE double hockey sticks to pay. You understand?
So I'm not allowed to retrieve the weapon back?
I'm ordering you now, while this case is open, not to have any weapons,
Yes, sir.
okay? Here, Stephen, do you mind giving this to me, please? This is the number to the driver's license division to DPS. You need to call them in the morning to figure out what you need to do to get your license back. Don't call them at 9, don't call them at 8, don't call them at 1:02. You're never gonna get through. You need to call right when the phone lines open, which is at 7 o'clock in the morning. You'll get through, give them your license number and ask them what you need to do to get your license back.
Okay.
Once you do, I'll tell you, I'll take this off, you know?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I need you to fill out an application for me. I'll take a look at it. And then assuming you qualify, I'll give you a lawyer today. I'm going to have you sign this agreement with me today that you're not going to drive. And I want you to understand, Mr. Flores, I take this so serious. Don't drive. If you drove here, you can't drive home.
No, I didn't drive here. My father did.
All right, so I'll have you come up here, swear to us. May I have you go to Jamay, sign a reset, and then we'll have you fill out the application, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Going further with these cases, Judge Fleischer is faced with yet another lawbreaker, Fernanda Solis Martinez's. This case would make you question how terrible this lady is in self-control, to the point of destroying properties just because of some family issues.
Is it Fernanda Solis Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you're charged with criminal mischief. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. On November 19th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in response to a family disturbance. Upon arrival, the officer met with the complainant, who stated that he and the defendant, his sister, got into a verbal argument that turned physical. Both parties admitted to striking one another, and the defendant walked over to the complainant's computer and began hitting the computer monitor with a PS5 controller, causing damage. The officer observed the monitor to be shattered, and there was also damage to the headset and controller. The complainant estimates the cost of damage to be $1,120.
Okay, Ms. Solis, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. How old are you, ma'am?
I'm 22.
Are you here with anyone today?
I'm
Are
sorry.
you here with anyone today? What do you do for a living?
Nurse student in Memorial Herman.
Do you have any kind of income whatsoever?
I would say I make about 1,000 a year, 1,000 a week.
All right, would you like to apply for a court-appointed lawyer, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna have you fill out an application with Stephen. We need to work and we need to figure out what we're gonna do because typically in these types of cases, I bar you from having contact with the complaining witness in this case, meaning that you're not allowed to have contact with your brother.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know where you live. I don't know if you live with him. So what I'm gonna, don't say anything now. I have a bunch of DAs here. What you say could hurt you. I'll appoint you a lawyer today, but we need to find out the family dynamic because if you pick up a new case, you start acting a fool in the free world, I'm gonna take the free world away from you and I'm gonna put you in jail and I'm gonna make your bond high. And you have to understand that if you don't have anyone that's gonna post your bond, you will sit there in jail until this case is over with. And I'm gonna tell you, it takes about 9 months just to get a 911 tape and all that you're working for, all that schooling to become a nurse, where does it go? So we'll figure out that here momentarily. So do not leave until we let you go though, okay? Stephen's going to give you the application. I'll have you sign a reset with Victoria, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box.
Here we have Ms. Holly facing charges for driving while intoxicated, a serious offense that could have ended in disaster. It's outrageous how this woman went that far to not just endanger her life, but also risk the safety of everyone on the road.
All right, good morning, Ms. Holly. Ma'am, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement where they're offering you say 3-2? 3 days in jail with credit for the 2 days that you've done. You need to understand, ma'am, that this charge is going to go on your record. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. It's even there after you die. And it's important because like I told the other gentleman, you get pulled over, all officers care about is your record and how you look. And even if you smell funky, alcohol, dope, and even the slightest exhibition of something, they're going to take you down. And what we're doing today, the proverbial slap on the wrist, from now on, you're facing a minimum of 30 days in jail. Do you understand? So if I were you, even if you've had a sip of alcohol, you go on a date or whatnot, I wouldn't even get into a car. $20, $30, Uber, wherever you want to go, don't matter. You understand? You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty and you accept this, there's no turning around. You cannot undo this. Do you understand? You sure you want to do this? How do you plead to the offense, ma'am? Guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty, sentence you to the agreement. In this case, Mr. Horn, was this a intervention gone wrong?
Yes, that's correct, Judge. That's a new law violation out of county. So she's.
Was it it was a theft out of county, right? Okay. All right, ma'am, I will find you guilty. I'm going to suspend your license to drive 180 days. Do not drive until you get a license. My other thing is that what do you do for a living now?
A behavioral therapist,
And how much money do you make a month?
roughly 2,000.
Who do you live with?
I'm living with someone right now because finances were rough.
Children?
No, sir.
Okay. The reason I'm asking you these questions is one of the things that you have to do when you plead guilty to a DWI, there are surcharges that you have to pay. $3,000 to DPS when you plead guilty to this office, not to mention the court costs, which are usually around $400, $450. Your lawyer's asking me to waive it for you, but why would I waive all those fines and fees when you have, why would I reward you for the behavior that you've exhibited in the past year? Tell me, you're getting kicked out. You pick up a new theft case, which is completely within your control. I don't understand. Why would we reward you?
Up until the case 2 weeks ago,
I don't want you to talk about the theft case. Don't.
no, I wasn't. I was speaking on this case. I haven't violated, blown dirty, had any issues, did all the classes, everything I needed to do.
She was participating in classes, paying her fees. They just kicked her out for the law violation.
I've done everything I needed to do.
It's a shame. And I'm going to tell you, one day you're going to look back on this and you're going to say, God damn, I was so stupid for picking up that, I will. Because you were doing well, I will waive the fee for you. But I want you to understand, you ever pick up another DWI, it's double. So it's a $6,000 surcharge that you will potentially be required to pay. You pick up another DWI, not to mention the court costs. You will probably be rolling out here with around $7,000 in fines and fees. You pick up another DWI. If you're not smart enough to consider how to get home on a night of drinking, it's really not going to go well for you. All we ask you to do is take an Uber. It's not hard. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I will find you guilty, sentence you to it. I'll waive the fee.
you.
It's not going to happen. Good luck. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Horn.
Matter of the portable device that was a part of her PTI.
We will take everything off now. Right. We'll get an order from either Toria. Is it from you or?
The probation officer does it, but I'll print it out right now.
Yeah, we'll get it taken care of today.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, man.
While Ms. Holly faced the consequences of driving while intoxicated, this time Judge Fleischer is dealing with another offender. Ms. Awa Song is charged with prostitution after an undercover sting operation caught her in the act.
Good morning, Ms. Woe.
Good morning, Judge.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
If you'd be so kind as to help me with translating for Miss Song here.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are Awa Song?
你是宋小姐吗？
对。
Yes，
Ma'am, you're charged with prostitution.
你被指控卖淫，
You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine.
如果定罪的话，你要坐牢6个月，
We are going
罚
to do
款是
probable.
1000。
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor.
We are going to do probable cause.
现在就宣读被逮捕的报告，
You have the right to remain silent.
有权利保持沉默。
Anything you say can and will be used against you.
你所说的一切都可能用来对抗你的证据。
So you know, your lawyer is here with us on Zoom.
那你的律师在视频上帮你。
Okay, so go ahead, but go slow, please. Okay.
The officer conducted a search on VentPage.com.
检查到那个店里边
The
调
officer,
查，
the officer observed several nude photos and a phone number.
检查了在网上看到好几个照片，
The officer made contact with the defendant over the phone.
检查就用电话跟你联络，
The officer and defendant agreed to meet at a hotel.
检查跟你决定就是到旅馆去碰面，
The officer and defendant agreed to $400 for straight sex.
检查跟你跟被告达成协议，如果做提供性交服务，收费是$400。
The officer handed the defendant the money and defendant was detained.
检察就交给你钱，你就收了。
I will find probable cause exists to go forward.
我认为你被这份指控是有根据理由的。
I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to participate in the same behavior.
我现在下达保释金的条件，你不能够再做这种事。
If you pick up a new case,
如果你又再犯法的话，
if you do not remain in contact with your lawyer,
如果你不跟你的律师联络的话，
I will revoke your bond.
那么我就取消你这个保释金，
Just do not pick up any new cases.
就是不要再犯法。
You understand?
你明白吗？ Yes.
We are going to reset your case to give you time to work this case with your lawyer.
我现在在定日期，让你有一点时间跟你的律师一起商讨怎么样去解决这个案子。Yes.
Do you mind filing conditions on this case?
Yes, Judge.
We will have you sign these conditions.
那你要在保释金条件上签名，
We will have you sign your reset, and then after that, you're free to go.
然后在那个另定日期的文件上签名，那你就可以离开法庭了。
Finally, this last case focuses on Mr. Burks, charged with interfering in a police investigation, a bold move that quickly backfired.
You are Timothy Burks.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Burks. Mr. Burks, you're charged with interference with the duties of a public servant, and you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay, good morning, Alex.
Officers were dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in response to a disturbance. The officers spoke to the defendant and a witness who stated that there had been a gathering of people and that an altercation had occurred, but that the other parties had already left. The officer asked the witness for her identification because they believed that she was a witness to a family violence incident. The witness refused, and the defendant stepped in between the officer and the witness and told the officer that the witness did not have to provide any ID. The defendant then told the witness to leave. At this point, the officer attempted to detain the defendant, and while doing so, the
Alex.
defendant.
No, I'm talking about.
Go back a bit.
Please.
So the witness refused to provide identification, and the defendant stepped in between the officer. The witness told the officer that the witness did not have to provide any ID. The defendant then told the witness to leave. At this point, the officer attempted to detain the defendant, and while doing so, the defendant pulled his arms away.
How did he interfere?
So they were investigating a disturbance. They believed there had
Get
been
it?
family violence, and they were trying to get the identification of a witness, and he stepped in between and said she didn't have to give his ID or her ID and told her to leave while they were trying to get the ID of a witness. And then while they tried to detain him for getting in between them, he started pulling his arms away. So
All right, Mr. Burks, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Sir, I'm not going to put any conditions on you. Just be careful, you know?
Sir,
Don't say anything.
Yes.
Really. Now's not the time, you know?
Yes.
I've got a bunch of DAs here. You say something, it's just going to end up hurting you even worse.
Yes, sir.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm on disability now, sir. I retired. I used to work with McCorvey Sheet Metal.
Okay. Do you have an income now or no? Do you have an income now or no?
Yes, I do. I get disability.
Okay. Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer? Okay. Deputy, do you mind giving him an application? I'm going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'm going to have you go to Victoria Center, reset, and then we'll have you just take a seat in the jury box while we get all the documents and get your lawyer, okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
Please, sir.
Judge, did you say no state sponsored?
Yeah, no conditions. This way, sir. We need to sign a reset, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box.
Judge, next is page 33, Spanish speaker, Rivera Mendoza.
That's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Judge. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.